Hey there, friendlies. How's up? Welcome to the, 9th of February episode of the Beer Blades and Bushcraft livestream. I got me some beer. I don't think I have a blade here, and we will if we're on brand. Going to talk about bushcraft tonight, or whatever it is that shakes out has been happening recently. I'm just doing a little bit of setup here. I'm sorry I'm late tonight. Hold on a second. Sorry I'm late tonight, but I had a meeting at my daughter's school. I'm on the governing board, and so we have monthly meetings to talk about governing the school. And I am just setting up the YouTube page on this because I find that it's easier for me to keep track of the side chat and answer people on the YouTube side than necessarily on the StreamYard side. So that's what I'm doing right now, which is why I'm looking a little scattered right now, I'm sure. But hey, that's just the way it goes. All right. Boom. All right. So who's with us tonight? Simon, salut monsieur, comment ça va? How's your wife doing? Grace. Hi, Grace. Jackie, hey, how's it going? Jackie, I was talking about you in the last live stream briefly, and I don't remember what it was about. Had something to... did you set up a tent in your living room at some point? Someone I know set up a tent in their living room to camp with their kids, and I thought that was a cool idea. So how many people do we have with us here tonight? Jonathan, how's it going? You can't stay long? All right, that's fine. Thanks for showing up thanks for showing up anyway. I do, by the way, before we go much further, I do want to say that if you are not here live, if you're watching time shifted to tomorrow or whatever, then thank you for spending your time with us, even though you can't chat live. I think that's very, very much appreciated on my part. Jackie, backyard. Yeah, I've done backyard camping as well. Somebody camped in their living room though, because I, as you guys know, I've got that little 2-person tent that Camille doesn't love, but I really do, and she's been really, really complaining that we're not camping lately. And so I was thinking of, she really wants to camp in the backyard. I said, we got this big mound of snow. Why don't we try the living room? And she said, no. But I'm thinking of trying it sort of as a surprise one night just to see how it goes. Just doing a little beer pour here. You guys will be pleased to know that this is not a 9% beer like it was last time. Was it last time? I was like, what? And also because Serge is nowhere near, I did not blow the pour. What this is, I think, cheating a little bit here, guys. I think I've had this one before. Whoops. This is by Brasseur Alchemist, Brasseur Lanaudière. It's a Brago au miel. I think last time I had this, I couldn't figure out what the hell a Brago was. Come on, camera. There you go. Brago au miel. Big old graphic of a beehive, just in case you missed the actual words. Miel amarant. So this is made with local honey or some damn thing. It's a 473 mils, of course, as usual, and it's a 4.7%. So it's a light beer. Well, light. It's a little lighter than normal. So what we got? A little bit of honey, but not too much. It's not cloyingly sweet. Definitely sweet. There's not a lot happening in the mouth, though. It doesn't have a great mouthfeel the way some slightly thicker beers do. It's kind of thin. Kind of on the side of, like, if this was 400 years ago, I'd call it like a small beer. Those are the ones that they made from the, using the same barley or malt, sorry, but they would do a second flush, and that's where they got small beer, which they would drink during the day. That's very boring, but that's just who I am, guys. Hey, we got Foxit here. Jackie, living room camping sounds awesome. Yeah, it really does. I'm just trying to find something because my poor girl is sometimes when she gets home from school and we're chatting and stuff before we get into the homework or end up yelling at each other over something, she's sort of like, man, when are we going to go camping again? And I just sort of have to say, soon, honey, soon. Yeah, Jackie says we should do like a group. Everyone camp in your living room next weekend. We'll live stream the whole thing or something. I don't know if next weekend will work, to be honest with you, but I do want to say also, if anyone here is subscribed to my other channel, I do want to remind you that we're doing the whiskey tasting live stream next Sunday at 9:00. So if you're in on that, or if you want to be in on that, pick yourself up one of the bottles we're doing, and click on that link next Sunday at 9. Yeah, come on, Jonathan. Wouldn't that be cool? Living room camping live stream. Camille could finally be on one of my live streams. Obviously, I would not have beer if I'm having her on the live stream. Maybe like a Saturday night or something, Friday night. I'm just, I'm being pretty gung ho with my plans here. I'd have to discuss with the family before making that decision. Yeah, I was expecting this to have a much better mouthfeel and be a much more present flavor. Like if you've ever had mead, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I don't think I'll necessarily buy that too often. Simo has put up the link for this Brago Amiel. Hey, Hike with Mike is here. How's it going? Everyone say hi. I'll keep you guys posted if I can set up a living room camping live stream some soonish. That'd be cool. Okay, I thought I was gonna sorry, I thought I was about to sneeze. If I suddenly mute, it's because I think I'm about to sneeze or cough or something. No, I have not made my own mead as of yet. The thing is, the province of Quebec is a playground for mead makers. There's a bunch of them, and there's one or two that I quite like. With mead, you can get a very sweet mead, like a historical kind of real sweet mead, or something a lot more modern, a little hipstery, very dry. I like the old style mead. That's very sweet. That's the one for those of you who watched my second Canoe Hound cocktail version that I used the mead in instead of the honey syrup. That's a very sweet, very sort of medieval style mead that's made here in Quebec. Excuse me. And as long as that bottle is being sold, I don't really feel any reason to make my own mead. I would love to make my own whiskey. I'll be straight with you, but I should probably try it at one point, just sort of as an activity. Maybe videotape the whole thing. Videotape? Did I just show my age here? Well, just videotape that and then take them cassettes, edit. Videotape. God. Nope. Martin's here. You used to brew your own mead? Yeah, I wish I'd known that. I would have asked you many, many questions. So so let's ask Martin then. If I wanted to maybe do that at some point, give it a try, am I looking at a whole lot of equipment that I have to buy, or is it fairly simple? Because I have a friend who brews beer, like his own beer. And he's got a whole setup. They're not that expensive. I think it was under $500 for his entire sort of boiler and stuff. Yeah, I didn't know. But the fact that you say you used to brew your own mead tells me that maybe it was a lot more trouble than I'd like to think. Really? Jackie says it comes for sale at the LCBO around Halloween, but it's a rare find. Huh. Because in Quebec, it's not a rare find. There's always at least one or two kinds of meat at the SAQ. Thank you for not leaving me hanging as the old guy here. Oh, Martin used to brew beer and mead. Interesting. It's the same equipment. Okay, so you had all set up. I would like to get a beer making setup, but man, really my dream would be to get a still. Make 2 barrels of whiskey, like 100% rye and a single malt. Put them away, and then make some gin while I'm waiting for my whiskey to be ready. Damn, that's the dream. I mean, I'm saying make 2 barrels because what I'm saying is I don't want to go into business making spirits. I want to have, like a little hobby level still, a couple of barrels, maybe like a couple of barrels every year so that, when my 10 year is ready, the first year, I can, I'm not just emptying out 2 barrels into a million bottles, get a little label made for my bottles. If I ever win the lottery, like big time, I'm gonna do that. I think. It's more expensive though. A 5-gallon batch requires about 13 pounds. I guess you mean of honey, but it's easier than beer. Interesting. Martin, man, I'm gonna drop you a call one day to talk about this, just to sort of. Well, that's the thing. The mead that I use the most is it's very sweet. It's a medieval style mead, but you can fairly often, if you work at it, you can find a really dry one as well. Like with Mike says, it's hard to make homemade fermented products in Florida. I thought about making kombucha, but down here it's hard to find a cool place to store bottles, and many folks have had the bottles explode. Okay, that's a good point. I hate kombucha, to be straight with you. I have tried and tried because I know that there's a lot of health benefits to it. And so I keep trying, and and I used to work at an organic, like a really high-end organic greengrocer, and they had their kombucha fridge, which is like, and I tried one of everything, and I just can't. And it's weird because I like sour. I like sour flavors. I like pickles. I like all that kind of stuff. But kombucha, I just can't get with. I don't know, man. Jackie says, I made strawberry wine once. Child's play compared to whiskey, methinks. Wobbly pop versus a serious sip. Man, I'll tell you something. Of all the alcohols and spirits and everything, whiskey is the most exciting to me. I like sour and spicy. I'm not a sweets guy. I like sour. I like spicy. I like earthy flavors. Hi, sexy. Is that your real name? Jackie says, I haven't tried kombucha yet. Too expensive to try. Well, buying a bottle isn't going to break the bank, but I feel that if you try it and you really like it, you're in for something not whiskey level expensive, but it's a hell of a lot more than a Coca-Cola habit. I was going to say coke habit and then sort of rethought that statement. So yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that Martin is here because I was thinking about you the other day, and I was wondering if maybe tonight we should have discussed. Oh, interesting. Martin says that the traditional mead my wife and I made was very dry, not sweet in the least. I would like to taste that. Why are you not doing it now? I know that you guys follow a keto diet, right? Is it not? Man, I hope I'm not remembering this all wrong. I think you guys are keto. Keto. Does it not fit in with that? Jackie, do it, and then drop me a note. Tell me how it went. For those of you who don't follow Martin, Pine Martin on Facebook or Instagram, he recently made an igloo in his backyard and stayed in it. Yes, definitely. As soon as you want, pop in and tell me about it. Which reminds me, I'm going to put the invite down below for anyone who wants to come on. Yeah, so he built an igloo, and he stayed overnight in it. One night or two, I don't remember which at this point, because I was in a governing board meeting for my daughter's school tonight, so I have a mind like a steel sieve. I forget everything. It was not the easiest meeting in the world, but anyways, whatevs. So yeah, I found that very interesting because he had a tool. I don't remember what you called it, but apparently it makes good igloo bricks with almost any kind of snow. And so that day I went looking for one online, and then I just started gave up because I got a lot of snow, but I don't have that kind of lot of snow in my backyard. Yeah, we know what growlers are. It's funny because for the longest time, growlers have been legal or illegal depending on which province you're in, but they've finally started selling growlers here in Quebec. I picked up a growler of a terrific beer in Tobermory when we went to the Bruce Peninsula. Just fantastic. And when I bought the growler, I knew that there was no way I was going to be able to fill this growler when I got home. But my wife and I both agreed that the beer was terrific on the way back. Now, the thing is, once you pop a growler open, you got like not a month kind of thing. You got maybe a week to finish off that beer. And even then, he's sort of questionable at the end there. So I had my buddy Robin, who you guys have seen on a couple of my videos. I had him come over and the three of us polished it off. I think it was I don't know how big it's sort of I don't know what the measurement was on it, but it was about it's about yay big. Is that like a 4 liter, 3 liter? I don't know what the size of growlers are. All right, everyone say goodnight to Jackie and Jonathan. Whoops. Excuse me. Wow, his father-in-law has all this stuff too. Yeah, I would definitely do it. But yeah, I love the idea of having a tool that you can use to make an igloo. That's not like that big snow knife. You know, like I love the idea of being able to make an igloo around here after a winter of really good snow. And that square thing that Martin had in his pictures and he told me about, and I've forgotten because, man, that was cool. And if I remember correctly, it wasn't a wicked amount of money either. It wasn't that expensive, if you can find it. See, now I'm looking for that post of his so that I can sort of back up what I'm saying, but I don't want to bore you guys by staring into the abyss too long here. Hey, just let me get this off the screen. You're muted, Martin.
Sorry, I was just muting the live feed there. So feedback. How you doing?
I'm as doing as well as anyone else is at this point.
I missed the first 5 minutes or so, so I didn't hear your sort of your intro and preamble where you talk about how your day's been and stuff like that.
Yeah, so you missed the best. You missed the part that you should miss.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. I had a feeling that some kind of school board meeting wasn't going to be the best thing. So.
Yeah, well, it was. Whatevs. It is what it is.
So you want to talk about meat, or did you want to talk about the Icebox Igloo tool, or?
Well, I want to talk about them both, but just tell us about the Icebox first, just to get it sort of, because I was about to go looking for links and stuff, but.
Okay, yeah. So I'll just type in the chat what it's called for those who are curious about it. It's called the Icebox Igloo tool, and it's made by Grand Shelters.
Okay.
In Colorado, there's a gentleman by the name of Igloo Ed. He's he must be in his 70s or 80s now, an old gentleman. He's a mountaineer, and he's sort of a kind of local legend in the Colorado Rocky area because he just completely free of charge guides people up there on snowshoes, shows them how to build igloos, has them camp out in the mountains, where it's all snowy, of course. And then they ski down, right? And he's been doing this free of charge just because he likes to guide people out into the backcountry in the Colorado Rockies. He and his partner invented this contraption because they knew that snow shelters are the best thing. Packing a tent to go up at high altitude really sucks. It's really cold and windy, and a cold tent, an unheated tent, is only a few degrees, like in the single digits, warmer, in the low single digits, warmer than the outside air. Really just blocks the wind, and it doesn't trap much heat. Whereas a snow shelter like a Quincy or a snow cave or a snow trench even, especially an igloo, is a better heat trap. So he confected this little contraption. He works in sort of dye and molds and stuff like that, plastics and stuff like that. So he was able to design this contraption. It's just a 3-sided form. So it's like a plastic box.
So it doesn't even fold or anything. It's just a box.
It folds flat. It all comes apart. It's in 3 pieces.
Okay.
So there's no top, there's no bottom, and there's one side missing. So it's a 3-sided box. Okay. So you put this box down on the snow, and you pack snow in it. But the snow doesn't have to be wet. It doesn't have to be that wet packable snow that the kind of thing you make a snowball out of or a snow. It works in any snow conditions. And when I say any snow conditions, I mean, the one I built in my backyard was made out of snow that was at least 2 weeks old, and it had been very, very dry, and we've had some real cold spells and warm spells. So the snow has lost all of its fluff. Like when fresh fallen snow is really good, it packs very well, even if it's dry. But once it's aged, it becomes very granular and dry and sugary. Like literally, if you pick up a shovel full of it, it just pours off the blade like sugar. It's called sugar snow. Yeah. So people think you can't make an igloo out of that. And the Inuit, of course, didn't deal with that kind of snow. They had wind-packed snow. Their snow is like,
squeaky snow.
It's squeaky snow, and you use a saw and you cut out blocks. You can't quarry blocks out of my backyard. The snow is not old enough. It's not sintered by wind, so it's not wind-packed snow. So you can't quarry blocks out of my backyard. But you can, even with sugar snow, make this. So what you do is you take this form. It's a 3-sided form. You plunk it down, and you pack it with snow. And because it's 3-sided, it kind of spreads, right? You apply pressure when you're packing it. You need a waterproof glove or mitt, and you pack the snow in gently. 8 pounds of pressure seems to be the magic number. What's 8 pounds of pressure? Well, you figure it out pretty quickly. And then when you're done, you spread the form slightly and you slide it over into position where you want to build the next block, and you build the next block. And when you pack the snow in, you pack snow to snow. You're not just filling the form, you're filling the form, but you're trying to pack snow that you're putting in against the edge of the last block that you built. So it's kind of like you're building one long continuous block. You're not really building discrete blocks. Okay. You are doing it in discrete stages, but they're not separate blocks that you add to each other. You're making one long continuous block. And the first 3 blocks you make are kind of like a ramp. They're not full-size blocks. And so when you go full circle, you then climb up onto the next, onto your second course.
Because I was going to ask you about that, because, you know, like when they're cutting out blocks to build igloos, there's like this whole sort of spiral thing, right? Like the blocks aren't all the same size. So I was wondering how it deals with that.
Well, no, the Inuit do make blocks that on any given course are the same height. They're all the same size. They don't have to do the ramp thing. They don't do the ramp thing.
Okay.
But that's because they're cutting blocks and they can make them whatever size and fit them side by side.
Okay, but like they're not all identical.
No. In fact, they're all unique, and that's because you're not building a tower, a round tower. You're building something where the walls slope in, right?
Yeah.
Consequently, once you've placed a block, let's say you're at chest height, that block is leaning way in now. All right, and your next block is going next to a block that's leaning in, and the block beneath it is leaning in, and it's turning around. So that block where you're putting in, if you carve a block that's 90 degrees, it will not fit in there because you're not fitting it into a 90-degree slot. You're fitting into a block that's tipped in a certain way, and there's another block that's like that, so it's a much more acute angle. So they have to fit the block that's roughly cut 90 degrees, and then they shave it and shape it to the right spot, and then they wedge it in there.
So how do you avoid having to do that with this contraption?
Okay, so the way this thing works is you're not making discrete blocks and positioning them. You're putting a form next to and overlapping. You're putting it on top of the course beneath it, and you're overlapping the last block. And remember I said you're packing snow to snow? You're packing snow into the form up against the last block. It's as if you're extending one long block. You're making one long spiraling pool noodle of snow. That's what you're doing. And
I think it's important to mention. I think it's important to mention right now that you did 2 videos on this like a few years ago.
Oh, I made a whole bunch. Well, let me finish describing this contraption first, and I'll explain about that. So, the trick to an igloo, though, is it has to have a certain shape. Most people, when they build an igloo, build like a tower. It's just straight walls, and then they try to curve in, and that doesn't work because the vector forces. The roof, as it presses down, tends to make the walls bulge out. Or else you're trying to bring things in at too steep an angle, and it's hard to get the blocks to stay and stuff like that.
Both of which are safe, right?
None of which are safe. None of which are stable. Right? Like my igloo, I can go out and I can walk on top of it. Right?
Wow.
In fact, I've got videos of me standing and jumping on igloos that I had built.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, if you look on my channel, I've got a very short videos, like 3 minutes or something like that, called Igloo solidity, stability, or something, durability, or something like that. And it's about how long, like you build an igloo, it lasts all winter, right? So when I build an igloo out in the bush, I can go back and camp it to it anytime. I don't even have to bring the tool with me the next time, right? I just need a short takedown shovel so that I can clear out the door from where the snow is piled up in front of it. And it's ready to move in, and I don't need to bring a tent or anything. My shelter is already there.
Right.
But there's another part to this contraption. This is the real genius part of this contraption. The genius part of the contraption is not the slip form. The slip form anybody could have come up with. But there's an aluminum pole that is anchored in the center of the igloo, or the center where the igloo will be. And that aluminum pole goes up to the inside of the form.
Right.
So that, and you adjust the length of that there are some preset holes that allow you to adjust the length of the pole, and that is going to determine your initial diameter. So depending on, you can make a 7-foot interior diameter igloo, an 8-foot, 9-foot, up to 11 feet across, which is so big it practically echoes. But when I'm building one by myself, like I did, I make a 7-foot because a 7-footer is all the room I need.
Yeah.
And so the pole is only about 3.5 feet long, and that makes a 7-foot igloo around, right? And then as I
and because it's a dome,
right, as I climb up onto the second tier, I adjust the pole, I pull it in a little bit, right?
yeah,
And that guarantees that the next course is exactly the right distance from the center and at the right angle,
yeah.
right? And then I just keep going around and around and around, and just keep adjusting that pole, and the markings are on the pole telling you what you need to do for whatever size igloo you're making. And then next thing you know, you're done. And so what you end up with is an igloo that has the right catenary arch. So it's not a parabolic arch. It's not two straight walls with a semicircle on top. None of those are stable. What the Inuit came up with is a catenary arch. And a catenary arch is that arch that you get. Let's say you have um, two fence posts and you hang a chain in between them. That arch that's formed, that's a catenary arch. It doesn't matter how
it's more gradual than
it's very, very gradual. It starts off fairly straight, and then it rounds out. Right? That's catenary arch, but this is a catenary arch flipped over. And just as a catenary arch on a chain hanging upside down is stable, it can't fall any further. It's as stable as it can be. If you were to sort of freeze that chain in that position, flip it over, it's perfectly stable in that position.
Yeah, so it's more like this.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tall thing, like that, right? It's kind of hard to describe. A lot of people just imagine it's two straight walls and then a semicircle. It's not an igloo. So the Icebox igloo tool is this contraption that ensures that you get an igloo with the right catenary arch. And so it won't collapse and it won't sag. Like if you make a quinzhee, the walls, a quinzhee is just a pile of snow that you hollow out.
Yeah, that's the one that scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, well, you have to know how to make it. Actually, if anyone's on Facebook, you can follow me. Just look up Martin Pine, P-I-N-E, Martin Pine. That's the Facebook page that corresponds to my YouTube channel. And I have some very detailed instructions and photographs on how to build a quinzhee so that it's not going to collapse on you and so that it doesn't sag overnight. Because what happens when people make a quinzhee is they make this pile of snow and they tunnel it out, they hollow it out into a rough igloo shape on the inside. But the walls are not a uniform shape and thickness. And the arch is not usually high enough, and there's usually too much snow piled on top. And so the whole thing overnight sags, because when you sleep in a snow shelter, your breath warms it up. It's full of moisture. Your body is expressing moisture. And so it softens overnight. And so usually I had this experience many times of making a quinzhee, and you wake up in the morning and the ceiling is a foot closer than when you went to bed. Right. And that's pretty coffin-like and anxiety producing. If you wake up in the night and you notice that your ceiling has come down about 6 inches while you were sleeping, you sleep with one eye open after that.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. So, but when you know how to dig them out, it's not claustrophobic feeling, because what people tend to do is their instinct is to just tunnel right into the heart of the thing and then open it up, and that's a disaster. That's how you get a collapse, and it could kill you. If the snow is wet and heavy, and even if it's light, fluffy snow that collapses on you, it's pretty damn frustrating. You put in a lot of work only to have no shelter to sleep in. So
yeah.
So that's the Icebox igloo tool. So it's not a toy though. I mean, it looks like a toy because it's made out of plastic and aluminum, so people think it's a toy. Some people buy it to make an igloo in the backyard for their kids. It's kind of an expensive toy for that. But it's supposed to replace a tent. It's supposed to replace a winter tent, which should be like $500, right? So this thing's about $200 US or something. But I've had mine for 10 years. What's that?
I just put the website up.
Okay, yeah. So I've been using it for 10 years and I absolutely love it. And it puts any cold, unheated tent to shame. I've never had a water bottle freeze in there. In fact, I never even had a winter sleeping bag when I was sleeping in snow shelters. Never, right? Because the temperature inside is so much warmer.
Right. I'm getting notes that when I'm speaking, there's a bit of an echo thing happening.
Oh, let me put in earbuds. That might help.
Oh, okay. So it's not my fault.
Well, I'm assuming. We'll see.
You know what they say about making an assumption? You make an ass out of you an umption. I don't know. That's not what they say.
That sounds close, but not quite right. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, that's the That's the Icebox Igloo tool. And so on my YouTube channel, I have some videos that show me building my first igloo with my wife about 11 years ago or something like that. We'd slept in Quincy's before, but this was our first time making an igloo, and it was tremendous fun. And then I started camping in it, and I figured out how to build them solo, because it's usually a two-person operation. One person holds the form, your partner fills the form up with a little takedown shovel. And the person who's holding the form packs the snow, and then it goes very fast that way. Right. And I can build a 7-foot igloo by myself in about 4 hours in most easy snow conditions. And that includes like taking breaks and stopping to pee and having a snack and all that stuff. So I started going on solo igloo camping trips and camping trips with a partner, making like an 8 or 9 foot igloo and stuff like that. So I just started making videos about it. So I've got one video that's, I think it's a series. It's like 5 15-minute videos on solo igloo camping, and it covers everything, like how I carry my gear, what I wear, how I make an igloo, do's and don'ts, best practices, cooking, how not to freeze at night, all that kind of stuff.
That last one's pretty important.
Yeah, well, I mean, the best way to not freeze at night is sleep in a snow shelter. If you don't have a heated shelter like a hot tent, the next best thing is a Quincy or an igloo. And an igloo is much more comfortable. It has a higher vaulted ceilings. It's sort of bright and airy. And
maybe that's why, because I've been trying to figure out why the idea of a Quincy freaks me out, but the idea of an igloo doesn't. And maybe that's what it is. Yeah, and it's so obvious that it's thinner. Well, it's not, I guess, but to me, it seems so much more obvious that it's a thinner thing, and conceptually, because you're building it up rather than digging into a mound. Like, it doesn't have the same subterranean element to it.
Yeah. So a Quincy is a mass of snow that you have piled up, and you have let it sinter. You let it consolidate into a solid mass. Then you tunnel it out, right? You hollow it out. Yeah. So it feels claustrophobic when you first start excavating, right? And if you don't know how to do it, it is in fact dangerous and extremely claustrophobic and dark, right? And eventually it gets brightened inside, because by the time you've hollowed it out, the sun is and the daylight is just bleeding through, so it's not dark anymore. But my wife and I, when we make Quincy's, and if you go on my Facebook page, you'll see that photos of my wife and I building a Quincy in progress, step by step, and you can see how we excavate it. It is nothing like that low vaulted, cave, right? Like, there's an old joke, snow cave rhymes with mass grave, right? When we make them, they're much more vaulted ceilings, so much brighter and roomier and airier, and they don't feel claustrophobic at all.
I'd like to point out that Mallory from Quebec's Homestead says that she ices them before getting into a Quincy. Yeah.
So the icing, or sometimes called glazing, you close up the door, you plug up the vent holes temporarily, throw some snow on it, or put some chunk of snow over the vent holes, plug up the door temporarily with a piece of fabric or a sled or a snow plug. But first you light some candles inside, right? 2 or 3 is usually enough. And you just let it go for half an hour or something like that. And let the candles warm up the inside, which softens the snow inside, the roof on the walls, not so much on the floor, it's cold at the floor level. But the heat rises, warms it up. And then when you go inside and you open the door and blow out the candles, clear the vent holes, that all freezes. And so you get the interior all glazed. And so now when you're inside, if you brush up against a shoulder or a head up against the ceiling or the wall, it's not raining snow all over your clothes and all over your sleeping system. So glazing is actually sort of a nice final touch. Plus it pre-warms your Quincy for you before you go to bed.
Also true. And what, you dig 2 holes through for a Quincy?
No, it's usually you don't dig a hole. Like the vent holes in an igloo or a Quincy, no bigger than a loonie. I'll make 1 or 2. If I'm going to make 1, I'll put it at the very peak, and if I'm going to make 2, I'll make them sort of up in the upper corners. And really, the only time I make 2 is if I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking inside. If I'm going to be using my Trangia stove, burning alcohol in there, I want to make sure it's well ventilated. So that's the only time I'll use 2 vent holes. Otherwise, just 1 vent hole the size of a loonie is all you need. If you can fit your hand through, it's too big. You're going to lose more heat.
You're gonna lose heat.
Yeah.
And at the size of a Luna, you're not worried about it sort of crusting over or getting clogged or anything?
Well, it can. I mean, it's happened to me. I wake up and I'm like, there's a bit of snow in my sleeping bag, and where'd that come from? Well, it must have snowed overnight, and some of it fell down that hole, and then it got clogged up. But it doesn't matter. I mean, there's you're not going to smother. There's plenty of hundreds of cubic feet of air in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Sorry, I got to get going soon. My wife's calling me to bed.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, I just want to say something about the mead.
Oh, yeah. So you have a whole beer set up, and you use that for mead as well.
Yeah, well, I did. So back when I was in university, my wife and I used to brew beer and mead. And we started brewing mead just because when we bought all our kit for brewing beer, we bought a book. I think it was called The Home Brewer's Guide to Home Brewing or something like that, or The Complete Guide to Home Brewing or something, by Charles Papazian. I remember the author, Charles Papazian. It's the brewer's Bible, or at least it was in those days. And it just had 100 recipes, and it detailed the process for brewing beer. And there was a section on brewing mead. And it turns out that the only difference between beer and mead is, instead of something like barley malts that you're fermenting, you're just fermenting honey. You know, and you use a different yeast. You use something like a champagne yeast. You want to use something like a champagne or a wine yeast because those yeasts are more alcohol tolerant. So you can get something like 9 to 12% alcohol, which is what you want. You want something closer to a wine. Mm-hmm. And if it ferments thoroughly, and there's no hops in a traditional mead, because mead is much older than beer actually, and they just hadn't. I mean, hopping beer is something that the Czechs invented, like in the late Middle Ages. Before that, beers and meads were not hopped. But you can hop your mead, but we never did. We like the traditional mead, and it's very dry. It's like a dry wine. It's not sweet at all. The only way it'll be sweet is if you either introduce sugar after it's finished fermenting, or you interrupt the fermentation so that the sugar is not all fermented. Because what happens is the yeast eats the sugar and craps out alcohol. We always let the fermentation go right to completion, and it was really dry. It's like a dry, and it's slightly fizzy, so it's kind of like a sparkling wine, but very, very dry. Doesn't taste like wine. Doesn't taste at all like honey. You'd never guess it was made with honey, actually. And that was great, and it packs a wallop because it could be anywhere between 9 and 12% alcohol. So, it's you drink a big tankard of that, thinking it's like a beer. When you get up to go to the washroom, you'd be reeling. So, but we stopped because we moved. I don't know if I explained to you this one time, but my wife and I years ago, we were early retired. And when we retired, we sold our house, we sold everything, and we bought a pickup truck and a used Airstream trailer. And we just rambled around and lived that way for 4.5 years, year round, in an old Airstream trailer with our dog and our camping equipment. And we just sort of camped.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
It was a pretty good life. It was the best home we ever had, actually. And so we had to sell a lot of stuff. So I had to sell all my books and sell everything that was in the kitchen, practically, except what was strictly necessary. And we sold our brewing equipment. Okay. And I always thought, well, when we settle down again, if we settle down again, I'll buy some again. But I never got back into it and haven't brewed since. So it's been many, many years now. It's been over a decade. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be closer to 20 years, actually. Close to 20 years since I've brewed beer or mead. So, but that's the reason. And now we're on a ketogenic diet. We don't consume a lot of alcohol, but very, very little. So, when you brew beer or mead or wine, you end up consuming a lot because you're making 60 bottles of beer a batch, right?
Yeah.
55 to 60 bottles in a 5-gallon bucket or carboy, right? And it's the same thing with mead. That's a lot of mead. So
yes,
you will drink it because it's there and it's cheap.
Right.
and if you get any good at it, it's way better than what you can get, except at a really nice, craft brewery.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly better than all that pissy taste alike stuff that's from the big breweries.
Yeah. I'm interested. I just wanted to show Mallory why I was late tonight because she was asking. I was late because of a school meeting. Yeah, I want to try it at some point. It's just like the startup cost it's not actually that expensive.
It's not.
If you end up, if you get a whole bunch of really high end stuff, yeah, of course. But I have a buddy I was saying who brews beer, and like all his stuff come out to like a few $100.
Yeah, I mean, I probably isn't even that. Like the what do you need? You need a 5-gallon plastic 5-gallon bucket or a cardboard.
Yeah.
Cardboard is the fancy, bell-shaped bottle. You don't need that.
Yeah.
5-gallon bucket will do, right? You need a siphoning hose to siphon it, out. You need a big sort of cauldrony pot that you're going to boil water in and pour your honey in, or your barley malt or whatever.
Yeah.
Really what costs is the ingredients, right? The initial outlay is not expensive, right? So siphoning hose to siphon into bottles is expensive. It's not expensive, but you got to go out and you got to buy some bottles. You either got to buy plastic bottles, or you've got to just keep your old, beer bottles that, don't bring them in for the refund. Just keep them. Just stockpile beer bottles, right?
Yeah.
Or go ask your friends for their 2-4s of empties, right? And then you need to buy some bottle caps, and you need a capper. You buy the capper once. The caps, every new batch, you need a bunch of caps. You need 50 or 60 caps. What else? You need a bit of diver sol, which is a kind of disinfectant, so you clean everything with and disinfect it after you use it, so that it's all sterile when you start. I mean, it's really it's cooking. And people think that it's like operating a distillery, right? It's not, right? You're not a commercial brewery. Throughout the Middle Ages, the housewives not only brewed the beer, but they cultivated the yeast and all that. Nowadays, you just buy a little pack of yeast, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to buy barley malt, and you're going to buy some yeast. You're going to buy some hops, and those are the ingredients that are going to cost you. In the case of mead, you're buying a packeted champagne yeast, which is going to be a few bucks, and then 13 pounds of honey, which
could cost you.
Yeah, well, you gotta find an apiary or some kind of fair or something, country market or something like that, where they sell it in big buckets. If you go and you're buying these little 500 ml jars of honey, boy, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So
there's a whatever a honey place,
an apiary.
Anyways, yes, where we go to we fill like a bucket at a time, and then we have a jar that we fill from the bucket.
Okay, yeah.
Just because it's so much more affordable. I mean, it's still not cheap, but it's more affordable.
Yeah, well, if you go to an apiary, I mean, those are the beekeepers who, then it's cheap. If you go to like a bulk barn or something like that, where they have bulk honey that you can buy, then it's not so cheap, right? Because everyone's getting a cut as you get closer and closer to retail. So, it's not that expensive. But I mean, the problem is you will get fatter. You will acquire a taste for it. You'll end up drinking a lot more than you do. And in my case, it's not something I want to do. So that's the other reason. I don't have the equipment right now, and I really don't want to sort of get in the habit of drinking that much, because you can't resist it. It's in the house. It's like a bag of chips. If it's there, you're going to eat it. So
God, I know.
I just don't bring it in the house, right? So
yeah, and it's funny because I feel that for stuff like, I had this conversation with some people at work today. We were talking about buying an espresso machine. And I was mentioning about how it was a long conversation. It wasn't about buying an espresso machine. That was sort of one of the tertiary items that happened in the conversation. And I was sort of telling them how the missus and I are non-unanimous about the kind of machine to get. right? She wants sort of like that little Breville thing. You know, you grind up your stuff, you grind up your beans, you put it in the portafilter, you hit a button. Whereas to me, I want one of these babies, right? You know,
Right.
the piston machine, they
Yeah,
cost
yeah.
a mint, but you know, because I have a real love of kind of pageantry. Do you know what I mean? Like I love
Yeah,
it
yeah.
when there's a process where
Yeah,
there's
you like
magic.
ritual. Yeah, you like ritual.
I like ritual, and I
Yeah,
like the fact that you know the quality of the shot you pull depends on, you know, you
yeah,
get the speed right, you get the pressure right. Come on, you know, I like the tactility of that
yeah.
kind of stuff, and that's why to me, hey Mel,
Hi.
um, I love the idea of making beer, even though, as I said in the last live stream, aside from when I'm on screen with you guys, my beer consumption is it's just gone, you know. Um, but I like the process of bringing something. I was about to say bringing something alive, but shut up, Jesse. Like bringing something into the world like that, like you're
Well,
creating this thing, and I would pass it out to friends, you know.
well, I mean, I don't know about espresso, but I mean, when it comes to brewing beer and mead, you're dealing with a living thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeast is a living thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
That's true.
it's not like a sort of ordinary cell, um, but I mean, it's quasi living anyway. And your the product rests on an organic process.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be careful and mindful of it. You have to observe it, and you've got to watch this population stage, and you have to judge whether the yeast is completed its fermentation or
Yeah.
it's just temporarily stuck, and you can start it again. And there's things you can do to start it up again if you get a stuck yeast or stuck fermentation. So there's
We
a kind of
I
yeah
love that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah,
yeah
it's fun. We did some wild crafting beers last spring. Ben went out every time he'd go on a hike. He'd bring back some just ingredients from the forest and be like, "Okay, let's try to make some natural yeast and start up this naturally." Because you can start up processes like with stuff that you find outside,
yeah
and it's really cool. And we were able to do a few things. Some of them just turned out really bad. Like trying to ferment shaga is it's so not good. It
Chaga? No, I
Oh,
can do
it's
that.
so disgusting. So, like, we tried a few things, and the best thing that we tried so far was when we went to harvest our maple water. We mixed maple water with blueberries, and blueberries has a great yeast content, and
right
it
on it.
starts up super good, and it was so good. And like just a little tiny glass of it, like we felt it. It was really
Really?
good. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. I've never actually heard of this, but I mean, I know that blueberries and grapes have yeast on them, which is
Yep.
why, it's why wine was essentially invented by mistake, right? Someone had stored some grapes and they
Yeah.
popped off, and the yeast just went hog wild on the sugar, on the fructose, and next thing you
Yeah.
know, the juice that was there was intoxicating. So,
There's a book actually that Ben bought this spring, and that's what he got inspired by. Here, wait, let me go get it. I think it's right next to me here. Yeah, the Wild Crafting Brewer,
hmm,
and it's really, really interesting. There's so many awesome information on just yeasts and a whole bunch of like ingredients that you can just try from the forest, and it shows you the processes and primitive and country wines and meads. It's really a good book.
wow, I'm going to look for that actually.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
will too. Can you hold that up again?
yeah,
The Wild Crafting Brewer. Just let
yeah.
me.
I'm afraid I have to say goodnight. My wife is waiting for me. It's
Okay.
past then. I got to get going. Okay,
Okay.
Mallory,
All
very
right.
nice to talk to you here.
Have a
Yeah,
good
nice to
night.
see you.
Good
All
night.
right.
All right.
Bye
Bye bye. So, do you guys brew a lot, or was it just something you guys did last year?
We used to do a lot of beer. We used to grind up like a lot of I'm just gonna make sure this doesn't fall here. Okay. Yeah, we used to do a lot of beer and stuff back in the day, and we did some wine, but we never really started wine from grapes. We would always go buy that big box, and do it
Oh,
from
the
there.
kit kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but the beer we got into it pretty good. And we just stopped doing it because um we just got so busy. But I've been telling Ben that really been wanting to do some, and I think it would be really cool video content too.
Mm,
So
absolutely.
yeah, And I mean, because we like beer.
So, no brainer.
Yeah,
Gotta do
exactly.
it. You like beer? You like making content?
Yeah, yeah.
Boom.
Just got to choose what kind of content I need to make next. And like now we have a huge dilemma now. We're like, we want to build a big garage, but we're not sure because we need something heated. Like we're tired of like freezing our fingers. Like I literally have like limit of frostbite on my fingers. It's all peeling off the
Mm,
skin. It's like I wasn't feeling the tips, and now I'm finally gaining it back now that all the dead skin is peeling off.
right.
And so we
That's
need
not
a
disgusting at all, Mal.
no, I know, and not at all.
Mm,
Just bite it off.
yeah.
But we need a heated garage, and so I was telling Ben, I was like, we should just go around and film and ask YouTube what YouTube thinks, because
Mhm.
they're gonna have plenty of things to say.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're getting bees next year, so I think mead would be pretty cool too to try.
I would like to try that.
There,
It's funny because I had sort of I'd like to try mead one year, maybe, and then like Martin says, "Oh, I've made mead." Get on screen, and now I'm all like fired up.
yeah.
Gonna
There,
go out and buy a carboy, and you know.
yeah, and there's one thing in one of these books that Ben read that is really interesting, and he's into like medicinal brews and stuff like that.
Okay.
And there's this one guy that says that if you take the whole hive, royal cells and all, and you
Hmm.
ferment the whole thing, there's like some sort of medicinal process that happens. I don't know. It's really, really weird. But I was like, would you
But wouldn't
really
that be
do it?
destructive?
It could be. I don't know. I have no idea. But what he read was really interesting, and it got him really thinking. Like, man, like the Egyptians probably did that.
Hmm. Very likely.
Yeah.
When they weren't building pyramids.
Yeah. Of course. How's everybody in the chat? I see Cliff and Colin.
Yeah, I'm trying to sort of keep track. I wrote the name of that book in the side chat for anyone who might be interested.
There you
Cliff is
go.
sneezing like mad over his damn hot pepper seeds.
Oh no. Oh no. Are you harvesting the hot pepper seeds from the pepper? Or are the ones that those are the ones that Hunt from Heat sent you?
I gotta tell you, I do like a nice hot pepper. I haven't really tried to chow down on anything like really, any of the like a Carolina Reaper or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I'd like to try them one day. I'm afraid of hating my life for like the
Yeah.
next 2 days.
The hottest I've done was a habanero.
Habanero, yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Habaneros
hottest
are
I've
good.
done.
I ate most of my hot in terms of like hot sauces.
Yeah.
And what I've realized is I'm okay with a really hot sauce, but I need there to be a flavor there as well. If
Yeah.
it's nothing but burn, I'm like, okay, that's just a dick move.
Yeah, of
But
course.
if there's like a nice sour, like a little vinegary or
Like
any kind or a
barbecue sauce.
sweet or
Yeah.
anything with like some nice flavor to it, that's a sauce I'm gonna like.
Yeah, I made a barbecue sauce. I only had jalapenos that one year that I made barbecue sauce, but it was really, really good. And I put liquid smoke in there, hickory,
Hmm.
and I had brown sugar. I put ketchup because I didn't know what else to put in there, and I put apples and strawberries, and I strained them, and so I got those juices. It was so good, and with the jalapenos. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I like that stuff.
Yeah.
I also we eat a lot of Haitian here because,
Yeah.
Anyways, not gonna say online, but
Yeah.
but there's a reason why we eat a lot of Haitian in my family. And man, I love me some pickles. That's like the. How does one describe pickles?
I have no idea how to even write that or how to begin to search for it. So
It's essentially, think of pepper coleslaw, maybe.
okay.
Pickles recipe. There's a recipe.
Please.
Pickles Haitian pickles. Okay, cabbage, red bell pepper, green bell pepper, lime. Crap! I just lost the recipe.
Like a sort of choucroute, sort of.
Yeah. It's if it's not spicy, it ain't pickles.
Okay, so
There
like
is
a
some
very
peppers in there.
spicy.
Scotch bonnets, in fact.
Huh.
Scotch bonnet peppers, which are impressive little peppers. I'll be straight
And
with you.
what do you eat that with? It's just like relish that you put on the side of like a dish.
Well, you eat it with a cabri or any of the meats. I also like to mix it into the rice and occasionally have a spoonful. Okay, I'll tell you what, a spoonful is not a good idea. I have learned to take a very small spoonful.
There you
just
go.
little,
Start small.
yeah. But yeah, so I like spice, and I like if you can. I feel that peppers have had a function historically beyond just the flavoring. Because if you eat something really, really, heavy, peppery, it can kind of almost kick in some endorphins.
Okay.
And so I wonder if really hot food has had a purpose other than just flavor.
I thought it was to cool you down, like in the hot climates. You eat
Oh
it
yeah,
hot, and you sort of like get hot, and it cools you down.
yeah, sweat.
I thought that was one of them, one of the reasons. Because I'm not one for really spicy stuff, but I'm in Quebec, so I mean I don't need to be cooled down.
Right. Especially in February.
Yeah.
I remember when I used to work at a pub in on Crescent Street in Montreal. I used to work at an Irish pub that had these 9/11 wings that were spicy, okay, like fiery, like burn the crap out of your tongue, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh. And every weekend, man, these busloads of kids from Boston would come up because in Quebec you can drink at 18, and in Boston you had to wait till you're 21. And these guys would come in. It's like, yeah, we need the 9/11 wings. And the 911 wings were something that came with a warning. You're not getting your money back. If you don't finish them, it's your money. And they would always drink like as if they were drinking American beer, right? So they'd have they'd sit there, they'd have 6 beer. Hey, man, how's it going? They'd have like 6 beer, and like they'd be eating these wings. And then they'd go back to their hotel and be sitting there and holding onto the towel rack for dear life all night, kind of thing.
Look at Cliff; he's having a hard time.
Yeah, what the hell you got going down there, man? Is that a light?
Yeah, it's my flashlight.
Of course it is.
His face is all red. He's like having a hard time with them peppers, huh?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Okay.
My face is always red.
Oh.
No, I rubbed my nose
on
your
face on your neck.
Oh, trust me, this thing is burnt to a crisp. I'm always outside.
Oh my gosh, I wish I was sunburned.
You know what, man? I burn before I tan, thanks to my Scottish grandmother.
Yeah,
I go out 5 minutes, red. Like,
the March sun, like the spring sun, is really, really hard on my skin too. When I go out in the spring and I'm not used to it, and I'm inside most like of the winter, and there's no sun, when it finally comes out, it comes out hard. Right. I burn now. I used to not burn, but now I do.
Oh yeah, man.
I slightly burn. I turn lobster, and then like 3 days later, I turn brown.
Yeah.
Really? I turn lobster, and then I peel, and then I turn lobster again. So I just like, you know what?
Well, where's sunscreen?
Yep, that's what I do.
I lobstered and peeled once when I was really young, but my skin and body adapted to it and won't do it again.
Oh.
I do not have the same benefit.
I have immortal skin.
I muted myself. I was sure I was going to sneeze, but didn't sneeze.
No.
All right. Now with that.
So Jesse, you planning a garden? A bigger garden this year?
You know what? We're just trying to get by right now.
Yeah.
There's so much happening. There's so much going on, but we'd like to be, because generally, I think by now, the Madame and Camille would be like starting little
seedlings
and stuff. But
that's what I'm doing.
This year, it's just there's just too much happening.
I hate you, camera. Why are you blurry?
I hate you, blurry camera.
I know I did. It's all blurry. Like I popped up and it was blurry.
I need a new webcam. I feel like I'm always so green.
I'm working out how I can just use like this thing for my webcam.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I got to talk with Mark on that one.
Mark?
From Rolling Homestead, he does stuff like that. He always
does that?
uses his DSLR for like a third-party camera for some reason.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah,
also runs his stuff through OBS.
I would love to. I did one live stream through OBS, but at that time, there's no way I could have done what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But I have found how to do it. You can't use StreamYard, but you can use something called OBS Ninja.
I think Mark found out a way how to do it with StreamYard now, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he did it on his last one.
Yeah, he did.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I should take a look at that. What I need is the time to have like a private live stream with a couple of people
Yeah.
and just test out a bunch of things.
I feel you. Once I get my new computer, I'm gonna totally need to like take time
Yeah.
to figure it out.
Yeah.
Need more water.
Yeah.
I'm switching to a Mac.
Coming over to the light side.
Water, where did you go?
Water, where did you go?
Hanging off my bed.
Got to keep an eye on that water.
Ooh, this thing wanders off constantly.
Mark is telling
planting peppers.
Yeah. Maybe the color, because I don't know, like I have a really cheap webcam. It's like a $40 webcam, and I can't find any sort of external software to control the camera at all. So I have no idea.
Russell.
Hey, Russell.
What's going on, Russell?
Now,
You going
during the
to bed?
last live stream, I needled you by proxy by needling Mal about getting bangs. And so ever since then, on my, signal, people have been like, so you wanted Mallory to get bangs. Is that what you're into? I'm like, no, you don't understand. I was going after Russell. I was like, Jesse and Mallory and bangs.
I didn't see that.
Sitting in a tree. Not that. It's not in the mods thread. I'm like, guys, I was taking the piss out of Russell. You gotta buy that. I'm not into bangs. But Russell, he loves him some bangs.
If he likes bangs so much, I'll send him a 6-pack.
Wait a minute.
That sounded rude.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
No, we have a alcohol down here. It's called Bang.
Really?
Or an energy drink. It's called Bang.
Yes, I know. There's a whole bunch of TikToks. Like this guy, like the boyfriend's going to see the girlfriends or vice versa, saying, "Hey, you want to bang?" And they're like, "Okay." And then they show the drink, and I'm like,
"Oh, I've seen that ad on like the YouTubes or something." Mark says it was Mala who said it, so Russell, it wasn't really me saying it, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's been very uncomfortable ever since. I just want to say.
Aw.
Very.
I'm sorry to have said that then.
Okay, Mal, you just taking the piss out of me, and now all my friends think that I just got to keep drinking.
There you go. Try
I'm waiting for him to finish that nasty beer just so he doesn't have it down there anymore.
I'm not finishing it.
I don't have no more beer.
You ain't got no more beer?
All I have is apricot brandy sour, and I'm sort of tired of drinking that.
Well, this is the beer that I'm not finishing.
Oh, none is, yeah. Huh. Never seen that one before.
It's piss poor.
I was literally drinking a mug of milk.
Nice. Party animal.
Go Mallory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get your calcium on.
You get that calcium on. Trial version.
Yep.
Russell.
Trial version.
I've been watching Russell's live streams so much more lately than I ever used to.
Yeah.
I like the way he sort of has them structured.
Yeah.
Like there are special events at like this hour and then this hour and then that hour. That's a nice touch. Yeah.
He doesn't know this, but I recorded my screen while on his last one so I could show Ben.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we can't go back and rewatch them. And I'm like, man, you got to see this. And he's like, on the couch. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'll just record it and come see it. I won't show anybody, promise, Russell.
So Russell just takes them down afterward?
Yeah.
That's why I can't. Okay.
Yeah, and you can't even like go to record. He takes off the feature to go back in the stream, so you have to watch it live because you'll miss it or else.
Okay.
Oof.
Yeah.
I always wondered about that because I've never seen any past Books Fests.
Yeah, he always puts them on private or unlisted afterwards, which is what I do when my live streams get a little bit crazy too.
But your live streams never get crazy, Mal. What are you
No.
talking
Like,
about?
yeah, see, nobody knows.
Because you just hide.
Yeah. I
It
can't
goes in
leave
the basement. It goes in the basement with me, and I eat them.
Oh my gosh, Russell, you can do that. It's really easy.
I didn't even know you could do that.
What?
No, I had no idea.
You record your screen. I do that all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I remove
I'm
the
looking
evidence.
for how to do it, but you know.
Yeah, I can't stand myself when I have like a drink or two in my nose and I just went a little too far. I just cannot stand myself, the way that I talk and the things that I say. I mean, it's funny on the spot, but like then you go back and watch it when you're sober and you're like, oh,
Yeah, why the hell did I say that?
yeah, like, oh,
Yeah.
did I really say that? And sometimes I'll get like self-conscious and be like, did I hurt somebody's feelings? You know, and I know like
Feelings.
I do not want to hurt anybody's feelings, but like I just sort of have that feeling in my, like when I rewatch it and I'm like, that could have came across weird.
And often it does. Hey, here's an interesting from Shawnee Shave, who I don't think I've seen in the side chat before. So
Hey,
welcome.
Shani.
I heard if you feed your chickens hot peppers, they will lay more eggs. The capsaicin doesn't burn their mouth. I've heard part of that. I've heard that because birds experience heat. I'm looking for the words in English here, but they taste heat differently. That I've heard the same thing, that they don't get burned by hot peppers. But I had no idea about that with laying more eggs. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, there's I keep seeing this ad for it. This crazy guy with a bunch of chickens, long beard, and looks like a mountain man. He's just sitting out there with a container of pepper flakes and he's just chucking them back behind him. And he gives this whole spiel about that the chickens like to eat them and it's better for them and some weird other stuff. If I ever find it, I'll send you guys the link for it.
I'm pretty sure that nothing burns their mouths. Like they eat anything. They are like dinosaurs.
Well,
I'd like
actually,
to see me
technically they are. Just technically they're, you know.
That's a point.
Russell says, unfortunately, this is to Mal, by the way. This is not to me. Unfortunately, those times when you can't slur 5 words together, you're usually not smart enough to just end the stream.
Yeah, right back at you.
Ooh.
Zing.
White Russians,
I have enough
Russell.
burn ointment for you guys.
They're fun though. I love those streams. We have so much fun. I mean,
I just love looking at Russell's place.
Yeah.
Such a cool, like, that's a place I wouldn't mind, you know, kicking back in. The view at those windows must be amazing.
Yeah, I know that beaver pond. It's really cool. Like he just goes out on his deck and boop, beaver pond. Like he's way out there. I had no idea when I watched his last video. I had no idea that he had to take his groceries from the side of the road and with his ATV all the way to his cabin. I was like, holy crap! Like that's, I don't know. Like I couldn't do that on the long run, you know. Like
yeah, I guess you kind of do notice that he doesn't have any vehicles parked next to the cabin when he does with the drone.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, like, man, props, man, because I literally park my car right next to the door, and I'm like, I don't even have any stairs to go up or down. It's just straight on the main level. I love it.
And hilariously, I don't know why I had never noticed the pea soup thing before.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I mean, I've watched not everything Russell's done because I feel like that asshole doesn't watch my stuff. Fuck him. Like I haven't watched everything, but I've watched enough that I should probably have recognized the pea soup. Remember, like it was on your live stream or mine, Mal? When I said, "What's with the pea soup?"
Yeah.
No, it was afterwards. It was in the green room.
Yeah, it was in the green
You were
room.
both like, "Come on, dude!" So I went back and rewatched videos I had already seen and sort of scrubbed to the end. I must be like clicking away right before the end of videos or something.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, because he always has a little end sequence there in the kitchen and pea soup.
Pea soup, and I was like, "How come I never noticed this before?"
Because Russell's sneaky.
Oh, Russell.
Well, sure, it's hell getting here, but then strangers don't just wander by. I I did this thing where I always lock the doors because we live on a boulevard, and one night several years ago, no, like a year or two ago, the missus was coming home from doing some shopping or whatever, and I was home with my girls, my mother-in-law, and there was this huge bang at the front door, like on the front door. So I turn to go to the front door, and for some reason, Camille runs over and opens it. And there's these two kind of teenagers standing there. And so I say, "Hey!" And at the exact same time, I hear the missus say, "Hey," from down by the street. And because these kids are obviously smarter than I think they are, they're way more scared of her. Right? They hear her and they just jump and they, "Oh no, madame," and she started coming up and they just went over the railing and took off. But ever since then, I always lock the door.
Yeah. They're in the city.
And always.
Got to
And-
booby trap your front stairs.
Or get some cameras or some damn shit.
Yeah.
Get one of those Ring doorbells.
Yeah, I'm very. I don't want my home Internet of Thingsy. I don't want anything. I'm not going to say where I work, but I work in a tertiary nature, in an industry that is related in some way to that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Wow. But the upshot is none of that crap comes into my house. There's no Alexa here. There's none of that.
Yeah.
Siri?
I don't trust that stuff either. I think it spies on you.
Well,
I'll be right back. I need to go get something.
Okay,
Another
quick.
beer?
Let's talk about Mallory. And go. How come she hasn't got no bangs, man?
They don't sell them up there.
I love what Russell says. I'm watching one of your videos right now. I'm looking for the shortest one. Crumbs. He's just like, he's unstoppable. That guy's unstoppable.
I'm going to refresh real quick just to see if I can't get this stupid camera to unfocus because this is driving me nuts.
What's with both of you, man? You disappear, then he disappears.
I'm sorry. I'm dealing with this minimum case of frostbite, and I have to take off.
Yay, it's not blurry.
I have to take off the skin that's peeling off.
Skin shouldn't peel off with frostbite.
Just sandpaper, Mel. Come on.
I guess I could do that, but for now, I don't have any, so I need to cut it off. Man, that was the part where I hired somebody to go on my horse, and I filmed outside, and I didn't have anything on my hands. It was so cold that day.
Yeah.
Mallory over here pulling a Tyler.
Pulling a Tyler. Speaking of Tylers, where's our Tyler?
I don't know.
Yeah, where is Rodriguez? He's not in here tonight.
What's up
I
with
have
that?
not seen him.
I'm gonna send him a texto afterwards. Yo, man, where were you? You're hurting our feelings, man.
What? Wasn't it? Didn't last time almost right when we were about to end?
Yeah, he was late. Hike with Mike says, I always look for short videos. I can't really watch long videos. About 12 minutes is my limit. Hike, what I do, because as you guys know, I spend a lot of time trying to watch the videos of everyone who is subbed to me and watches and supports. I really try to sort of feedback, even if I'm not typing comments. I'm making sure that, my eyes are on those videos so that, YouTube algorithm and everything. But I find that if I'm just sitting there and really actively watching a video, my limit is around probably about 15 minutes as well. After that, I start to get a little antsy because I feel that I should be doing something
Productive.
like the dishes or editing or something.
Yeah.
But if I have videos on while I'm doing something else, like making the kids lunches, washing the dishes, folding laundry, obviously handing in my man card, I can go like a full on hour. Hey,
Bubbles.
Bubbles. How's it going,
1
Bubbles?
hour is like the longest I watch most of the time.
Yeah, I can't do longer than an hour no matter what.
Yeah.
Which is why I have to do a lot of Joe Robinette videos in chunks because it's just like I can't take an hour and a
Him and
half.
Sean, like they drop like hour and a half, 2 hour. I think one of them was like 4 hours for Joe one time, and I was like,
Yeah,
"It
no,
won't take me a few days to watch this."
Yeah.
can't do it. But with Sean, you're talking about Sean James, right?
Yes.
The stuff that's under an hour, it's almost ASMR in some ways. So I just sort of zone out, and I just like I'm in the moment with his videos.
Yeah. My kids
Because
like to
he's
watch
not
on
like
TV.
yeah, but because he's not turning the camera and like giving me information all the time, I can just watch it and sort of
It's relaxing.
sit back and have a scotch or something.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like those primitive videos that they make caves. Like I don't know if
Oh,
you've seen
and they
those
say
pop up.
nothing.
Yeah, they actually and they're just two guys building
Yep.
like digging in. My kids love those
You guys
videos.
watch those ones too?
Oh,
My kids are in love with them. They love those videos.
Cliff,
So
man.
we
Who the
put
hell
them
do you
on
think you're talking
TV.
to?
Are you talking about the guys that built a little house and then they built a great big moat around it, and then they
So
filled it with these little containers, like one little bit of water at a time?
yeah,
Yeah, like a gallon of water,
Yeah.
2 gallons of water at a time.
or they
did the
have
math
like
on
these big bamboo pipes that they like.
I did the math on that. It would have taken them 3 weeks of working like 16 hours a day to fill that thing with those little jugs that they had.
Little tiny jugs.
So what you don't see is the 100 guys just off camera
Handing them jugs. Okay,
going,
go.
is it our turn now? Are you turning the camera off? Okay, go quick.
Yeah.
But then they stepped it up, and then they had puppies, and so then they made a little island for the puppies so that they can go play around in that little house. My kids are like devouring it.
That
Okay.
I missed.
Oh yeah, they got creative with it.
I can't watch those guys. Disingenuous.
Hike with Mike says he doesn't mind folks who have long videos if they do them in segments. Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that for a sec. Do we agree that longer videos do better on YouTube?
Well, I don't know anymore because at one point it was like the 10-minute video was the magic, right?
I don't have
But
bangs anymore. Shit.
I think when you're a
There's a
smaller
bang.
creator,
There's a bang right there. Okay.
I think when you're a smaller creator, the short and
eyebrow.
sweet are easier to get the viewers. But once you have the viewers, they're invested in watching your long form content.
I don't know. Well, the question really is, does YouTube push longer videos more than shorter videos?
Well, it used to be yes, but I don't know what because I just gave up on trying to keep track of because they move the goalposts every few months at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what because at one point it was the length of video, then it was the quality of the interaction in the chat below the video, and then like I don't know what it is anymore. And I found that.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'll just sit here. No, you go.
my longer videos don't get pushed out as much as my shorter ones. That's all I can say.
It kind of makes sense though. Like if a longer video has more ads in it, and they say watch time is king these days. So like there's more watch time if I get 30% watch time, whether it's a long video or a short time, then the longer videos just get more watch time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
My shorter videos have a retention of like in between 50 to 60%. And
that's good.
Like my newer ones, and my longer videos have like a retention in between 30 and 40.
You okay there, Cliff?
Yeah, no, that pepper's I still got some of the capsaicin on there. Still
Don't touch
burns.
your eyes. Don't touch your eyes.
Don't touch your eyes.
What happens when you're trying to plant peppers and you scratch your nose?
Yeah.
You know who impresses me about this is our buddy Johnny. because he comes back the next day and he watches my entire freaking live stream and he comments and comments and
I
comments.
know. He's gonna burn out one day though.
Yeah, he's got no life.
He's got plenty of life.
Well, if you're watching Jess for 2 hours, God.
Well, okay, there's that. Drops Family Garden, how's it going?
Hey, Drops.
It's not going to be 2 hours tonight though, because I started late.
Yeah.
I don't.
But yeah, Johnny's gonna realize one day that there's just too many people to follow. We just can't follow every single video.
Yeah,
That's my problem.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Johnny Harper? Oh man.
Johnny Harper.
Oh, Johnny Harper. Okay, the smiley guy
Lion.
from Hawaii.
Like
Yeah.
the nicest guy on YouTube, first of all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that guy a lot, and he's a fount of information. He's got a lot of stories that make you think, how are you still alive?
I know. Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude.
Yeah, I hope he tunes into my the live stream on my other channel. I think that would be really interesting because he knows. What's cool about him is he's got all this info in his head about pairing alcohols with certain foods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
so
he's
it's-
sort of like a chef.
I'm Bubbles. You might know me from a famous TV show. You know, Bubbles.
Yeah,
I-
that's
I know,
it.
I know
I'm with-
exactly.
Ricky
I don't
and
see any
Julian.
kitties. I don't see any kitties there, Bubbles.
The other night, I had to talk to Julian because Ricky got really drunk and he took one of my kittens. He was really hungry. Julian, you got to do something about my kitty.
You're the only one that has no idea
You
what's
just need the
going on.
glasses, man. But what? You don't know who Bubbles is?
Did you see that cover they did of
Trailer
that
Park
sea
Boys.
shanty?
Oh, that's right, Bubbles.
Bubbles, come on,
Okay,
Bubbles.
yeah. The cartoon. Are we talking about the animated version or the live action one?
There's an animated version.
You haven't watched? Oh my god, dude! The animated version on Netflix is hilarious.
Trailer Park
Really?
Boys.
Yes.
Amazing.
Searching right now.
I will search later.
Yeah, I tried watching the live action one with actual people, and it's not nearly as hilarious
Are you
after I watched the cartoon.
Kidding me?
Hike with Mike. Yes, Bubbles is a Canadian thing. I would find you a link, but I'm
I'm
too
gonna
busy
have
being
to watch
fabulously
that.
interesting.
You won't be disappointed, trust me. It's freaking hysterical.
Did you know that, Russell? Trailer Park Boys has an animated version on Netflix.
I think I did know that, but those guys are milking it for all they're worth. There's like Trailer Park Boys everything. There's Trailer Park Boys lunch boxes. You know, it's just like
When haven't
There
they
you
tried to
go.
overmarket everything?
Julian, he took my kitty. I think he ate my kitty, Julian.
I'm putting a link in the side chat. No, crap, I missed it. Hold on.
Oh my gosh.
There was some
hate
really
when
funny
that-
moments in that show. Like I love when they there's like half a motorhome. The top half has gone off, and they're talking to Ricky's father, and he's like, "There were 8 cans of ravioli here last night. I don't know what happened to them. Maybe Ricky took them." The camera pans around. Ricky's on the driveway, face down, like he's passed out there. And like, Ricky, did you eat those 8 cans of ravioli? But the episode where they kidnap what's his name from Rush is absolutely the best.
It's not Geddy Lee, is it?
Eric Lifeson? Is that it?
Okay.
They kidnap him and take him. Ricky kidnaps him. Oh, that's so funny.
Oh my gosh, that show brings back memories. I had an ex-boyfriend that would just watch those religiously while drinking his whiskey in the morning.
Yeah, I watched the first season of it,
Yikes.
and I was done with it.
There were some uncomfortable moments. There were many uncomfortable moments.
That whole show is an uncomfortable moment.
Oh,
What, you just not like Canadians?
No, I mean, there's just that whole show is just like it's like Ren and Stimpy meets
That's,
Beavis and Butthead.
that's amazing.
what's that one show that everybody
Family Guy.
no,
American
Letterkenny.
Dad.
they're farmers. They're
Letterkenny.
farmers. It's a comedy show.
Letterkenny.
Yes,
Yeah.
Letterkenny. Everybody's telling
Letterkenny.
me you got to go watch that, and I've only seen previews. I don't know where to go watch it.
I've only seen snippets on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
All the ones that feature Bonnie, right?
No.
Let's see if I can find it on Netflix.
Then
don't
you're
know,
not
Ronnie.
you're not doing it right.
Oh,
I don't know who that is.
It's okay. You will.
No, it's usually
Right.
the clips I see is like they're making fun of somebody, and there's just one liner after one liner.
Oh yeah. It's
You look like
it's,
you look like.
it's very well done. It's really
It is very well done. It's very well
very
written.
well done.
But I'm like Mallory. I don't know where to watch it. Like,
Yeah.
I searched on YouTube, but that's the only place where I know where there are little clips of it. Or else,
I just said, I'm
what
like
the hell just happened?
that's weird.
How did we get on this?
trial version.
Welcome to Rain Dance Bushcraft. Ha, 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 ha. Jess,
Oh my
you
god!
gotta get on with the show, Jess. I got some shopping carts that need fixing. I gotta get out here, Jess.
I gotta go feed
Really
my
does.
kitties.
And he pushes him down the hill himself. He doesn't just find him randomly. He just straight pushes him down the hill so he can get his own broken carts.
Oh, that was Julian that did that. Bubbles said he couldn't find any more shopping carts, so Julian went over there with a gun. He's like, "Here, you take that shopping cart and you throw it down the hill." Okay.
Anytime, Mark.
Yeah.
Julian,
Yeah, I was
I found
about
a
to
whole bunch of shopping carts at the bottom of the hill. It's a miracle, Julian.
Oh, I love these live streams.
It's definitely not on Netflix, that's for sure.
Damn,
No.
I gotta put glasses on when I'm doing the one.
They're on a different streaming. Maybe it's CBS or someone. They're not on Netflix.
I have no idea how I look right now.
Because they're Americans making fun of Canadians, right?
No.
They're really Canadians?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there are Canadians making fun of Canadians.
Yeah, making fun of small town Ontario.
Because so many of my my subscribers have been asking me, Mallory, you got to do a reaction video on Letterkenny, and I'm like, I don't even know where to go watch it because I've been asked so many times, you got to do a reaction video on Letterkenny. I'm like, I can't do that on my channel. Like watch a Letterkenny and just do a reaction.
That would be a weird piece of content for your channel.
Yeah. So
I would love to watch you react to Letterkenny though. Hike with Mike. Yes, The Office was very popular. I myself have not seen the American version though, so I don't know if that's.
Don't feel bad. I haven't watched any of it either.
Really? Okay.
I've seen every episode of the US one.
I've seen every episode of the original, but I haven't seen even a single episode of the US one. Not because I'm better than you or anything. It's just
there's another show with a lot of very awkward moments, but also very funny moments.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so.
Are we talking about The Office?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the British one and Bubbles is talking about the American one. But the fact is we're probably both right.
Jess, did you see the movie that he did afterwards? It was kind of a sequel. What's his name? The main actor in the UK one?
Ricky Gervais?
Yeah, did you see the movie that I think it was a made for TV movie? Did you see it?
Like an Office made for TV movie? No.
Well, it wasn't really The Office. He kind of went on the road and did he created a band and spent all his money touring around with his band.
Oh, I know. I haven't seen it, but I've read about it, and I think I saw a trailer or some damn thing. That would have been.
That's pretty awkward to watch.
Oh yeah, but I mean that's what he did for that whole. The whole point of that show was awkward.
You guys all want to see a reaction video? Oh my god!
Everyone wants to see Mal react to something.
I know to do a reaction channel.
Yeah, because we need another reaction channel.
I was gonna do that with another guy. Just do it. Two drunk guys react. That's what we're gonna call it.
Let's do it. I'm here for you, buddy.
Let's
react to something.
I want to do it with somebody who has a sense of humor. That's all, Jess.
Oh, fuck me. Okay.
Nothing against you. I mean, I'm sure you do good videos, Jess. I assume you do good videos.
I'm just not very funny.
You do videos at all? You do videos
on occasion. I just,
Yeah.
No, not really.
So if you grew some bangs that aren't your eyebrows and you got a sense of humor, maybe.
There's a bang.
You guys remember Ernest? Ernest with the trolls.
Can you do if you get your back hair long enough, could you do a comb over to the?
No, but I'll work on it. Ernest, you mean like Ernest, like baseball cap?
Yeah. Ernest, and he those movies with the trolls and everything.
Oh, Ernest Goes to Camp and
Yeah. No, I don't know that at all.
When I made Ben watch the Russell special feature,
Yeah.
Ben's like, he sort of looks like Ernest. He reminds me of Ernest.
Oh
I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh, ouch.
no! Zing!
But
And it's the worst kind of zing. It wasn't even meant to be funny.
Yeah, it was like woo.
I really don't have enough burn ointment for this.
he was actually saying that as a compliment. He was like, he looks like a superstar. He actually said, he told me he looks like a superstar, and I was like, which one? And he's like,
Ernest.
You know Ernest.
I forgot that dude's actual name.
It's like it's a sequel. It's like Ernest Goes to AA. You know?
Right, Ernest went, and I think I remember him from the Trolls.
I would like to point out to the side chat that are keeping track of like Russell 1 Jess 0, more like Russell 100 Jess 0. I would like to just point out that this is my live stream. I gotta get points for allowing people into my live stream, right?
Sorry.
Like at least a point.
Yeah, we need everybody. We need some sympathy votes, some participation award trophies.
Hey, how are we doing on the thumbs up? By the way, am I getting sympathy votes on the thumbs ups?
I thumbed you up.
Nice. Okay.
Way up there. It's turning blue.
Yeah. Kind of sounds disgusting when you say it that way.
Turning blue.
Jenny Casio Cortez, who I believe I haven't seen in the side chat before, says, I remember blowing Bubbles back in the day. Do you remember that, Bubbles? I assume you would remember that.
Well, I had this babysitter once. He did some interesting things. He always wanted me to take baths.
Yikes.
He would wash me all over the place. And then, oh my God. And then it came to cleaning, and she did this blow dryer thing that was quite amazing.
Okay.
What was going on.
All right. Perfect. Sweet. All right. That's good enough. Moving right along. Hike with Mike says, I live in the south, and we go to a Japanese steakhouse with the Tapanki group cooking, and there is a guy that looks and acts like Ernest cooking there. It is so surreal.
Oh yeah.
That must be really weird.
I forgot to mention. Is that Jenny? Oh God, Jenny! What are you doing here?
Man, Bubbles, you're so weird tonight. No, Bubbles, you're so weird. Full stop.
I'm working on something I'm going to show you guys in a few minutes.
All right.
Oh, I can't wait for you to top everything that's gone on so far.
With bangs?
With scissors. Are the scissors coming out?
It's
No.
no, come on.
That was good ASMR there.
That was.
What was
Hello. I'm doing ASMR. Bubbles, cut that out.
Dang it, Russell.
This live stream is
Hopefully
not the most
monetized,
polite
so-
live stream I've ever had.
Oh, that one died on me.
Yeah.
Beans.
Bean
hamsters.
What? Bean hamsters? What the hell does that
Bean
mean?
hamster.
Can't believe I'm doing these searches.
What are you doing, Mal?
So you'll see.
Bubbles, what's Mal doing?
Searching some weird stuff.
It's going to be bizarre.
If you keep calling for Bubbles, you're gonna keep getting them.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, Julian, that's really greasy. That's really.
Yuck.
But I'll take a look at what Mal's doing anyway, if you want me to. Sorry, there's some real inside stuff going on there.
There might be.
Remember when they heard those? They were doing those pornos, and Bubbles wanted to get on it, and Julian's like, I don't know, Bubbles, that's really greasy to do that kind of stuff.
Yikes. Yikes. Mark says we've all gone a little bonkers.
A little?
Just a slight amount. At least I have whiskey to blame for it. You guys are just crazy.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Crazy is in the eye of the pickle.
All
Cliff,
right.
what's going on in your life?
Just work and digging holes in my yard.
Wait, what? Digging holes in your yard?
Yeah, digging a planter for a tree. Had to dig a 3 square foot hole and about 24 inches deep.
Okay.
I wish I could dig holes.
I would like to point out with what Hike with Mike has just asked. I have a question. Which is a better place to visit, Quebec City or Montreal? Montreal. Come on.
Toronto.
Shut your mouth. Thing is, I'm going to take that as a serious question because it most likely is. They're both great to visit. In Quebec City, the old city is gorgeous, and that's kind of where the tourists tend to go because when you get outside the old city, I feel that it's not quite as gorgeous. What the hell did you do, Mel?
Quit. Do it now. He's gone.
Oh my god.
It's Russell and his namesakes.
I so screenshotted that because I had to.
That's okay.
Get it off. You came back. You came back. You can see it.
That's fast work, Mel. Now I'm gonna try to be serious again.
Sorry, my mic was off. Mel, you need one more picture in there. Like Bubbles, and then me with glasses, and then me without glasses, and then Ernest.
Yeah, so it's like a morph.
Glasses.
Like a morph, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
put your glasses on.
Yeah.
Can you not scroll back?
Oh,
No,
man,
because
I
we've
don't
all
wanna
learned
lose
from you,
conversation.
Russell.
Although I will say that's pretty impressive how quickly you put that together.
Yeah. What I was going to say, finishing to Hike with Mike, is that they're both great towns to visit, and they are close enough together that if you were to, come north, you could do them both, not on the same day. But Mal, how long would you say the drive between Quebec City and Montreal is? Like
3 hours.
right? So, you could do like a long weekend and hit both. You wouldn't be able to take full advantage of either city if you just did a long weekend or whatever. But if you did like a 2-week thing, I would say start in Quebec City, do a couple of things there, and then come to Montreal for the rest of the time because it's a bigger city. But there is some special things about Quebec City.
Yeah, the old city, the
old city.
architecture and everything is just gorgeous.
Yeah. And, if you're Canadian and you go to the Plains of Abraham, that's where Canada really happened in a lot of ways. If you're American, you're not going to give a crap. But it's, you can just go and soak in the historicity.
You can sort of feel the energy of all the fallen soldiers there. It's crazy when you're laying on the Plaine d'Abraham. It's like you feel the energy of all the battle that happened there. It's crazy. It's amazing.
Yeah. And both commanders died. Right?
I think so. I would need to brush up on the history, but a lot of people died.
Many people died.
People dying. Where do you get the beer that's like the big long ones with the bulb at the end, and you kind of do this? You're turning it to drink the beer. What are they called?
I don't know.
My
but
God.
I'm gonna look them up.
I don't know either. Would you like to spell?
Somebody look it up. It's something about a yard of beer, something like that. The great big long glasses. They're like a yard long with a big bulb on the end.
I know what he's talking about too.
So you have to drink it like this, and they turn it for some reason. They turn it as they're drinking, and I'm not sure why. If you do it right, you get a face full of beer.
All right. See you later, Lakes and Hikes. We're almost done anyway.
Yeah, you're almost at your 11 o'clock point, huh?
Almost, yeah.
I got here.
I remember once at a pub that I used to play at, I was there one night and I wasn't playing, but they had those really long sort of beer glasses that sort of bulb at the end and then sort of came to a blunderbuss design. And there was some guy who'd just drunk an entire one and obviously decided, hey, that's not going to stay down, and turned and started to run to the bathroom. And you had to cross in front of the stage to go to the bathroom at this place. And he got to about the middle of in front of the stage and just lost the whole thing.
Oh.
And the band's playing, and one of the guys is singing. He's like in mid stanza. What? We don't say stanza in music. But he's in like mid lyric, and he just yuck. And he just continues singing, and the rest of the band just keeps going. And this guy is just like stumbling to the bathroom. And like at that moment, I realized the last person you ever want to be is the one who the lead singer takes a moment out of his lyric to say yuck to something you did, because that is beyond the freaking pale. Like in a show must go on world, that guy, I'm telling you, because that band had been playing for like 20 years at that point, so not much fazed them. This guy puked an insane amount onto that floor.
Oh yeah, he sucked down a yard worth of beer.
Yeah, and he just put it all right there, made a deposit right in the middle of the floor. And I was also very grateful that I was not a busboy that night, to be straight with you.
The big secret to musicians, especially in performances, is there's always a bucket sitting behind some speaker because, you know, they're drunk or they're on drugs or something like that, and they got to let loose.
I think in a lot of places that's true. We never play drunk anymore. We had a couple of really embarrassing nights early as a band, but that's like 16 years ago now. And so we just, as soon as we start to feel like we're getting a little tipsy, we move it over to water for the rest of the night.
That thing is huge.
How do you do that? I don't even know how you do that. I'm starting to feel a little tipsy. I'm gonna stop drinking. How does that work?
Well, when there's a crowded pub full of people looking at you, you make it work.
This is what Russell's talking about. I just can't find the name.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
so what's it called?
I don't know. It's not giving me it just literally calls it a yard of ale.
It looks like it looks like one of those licornes du carnaval.
Yeah, a little bit.
It looks like a giant horn is what it looks like.
Yeah. Hike with Mike says, I have an interesting Canadian football fact for you guys. I went to high school with Michael Clemens, who is in the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. I had some in-laws up here. Like this is years ago, and they saw the score from a CFL game, and it was like 81 to something, and the guy goes, "What the hell's with the 1? How the hell do you get a 1?" And because you know in Canadian football there's the Rouge, which is a 1 point. Anyways, I didn't know that at that point. But after another 2 years of working at Reader's Digest, I knew that point because you learn everything boring at Reader's Digest. But I just remember him looking at the score and thinking, there's something wrong here. And because the differences between CFL and NFL are in some ways very noticeable and in some ways not. But it's funny that you can look at the score of a game and think there's something wrong. What's going on with that? Because to me, football, I don't give a crap. To be straight,
that doesn't make any sense. Because of course, you can get 81. Like without that, like you could, if you made touchdowns without scoring the extra point, you can get to 60, 70 to 78. Yeah. And then a field goal is 3 points. That's 81.
I'm just pulling a number out of the air.
Oh, come on!
Just out of the ether.
I need to scoot out, guys. I need to.
Oh, so do I, because it is 2,300 hours. Yeah. Right. So we're done here.
All right,
Mal, you're killing the whole damn live stream, Mal.
I'm so sorry.
Come on.
Where's Johnny when you need him?
He'll be on tomorrow night. Man, Fox in your basement.
Fox in my basement. No, I'm in your basement.
You in my basement.
Here. You can share this out just one last time before we leave because I'm gonna delete this afterwards.
All right, gonna delete the. But you gotta no, you can't delete that. You gotta just find a picture of.
Find a picture of Russell with those
glasses on. All right.
Good
night, everyone. Good night to all you guys who came on.
Oh shoot!
Now Russell is just doing you a favor. Did you catch it?
No, I couldn't do the print screen.
Yeah, delete it.
Yeah. Okay, Mal, quick, fast.
Okay, I got it.
All right. Next live stream, I want to see that done. Okay, so thanks to everyone who came on screen with me tonight. It was a much crazier time than I thought tonight was going to be. And to all of you in the side chat, I hope you guys keep coming back regardless. So I hope to see you guys next week. Between
I had
now
a
and
really
then.
good time. If we can do this again sometime, I'll bring my kitties. And I'll talk to Ricky and Julian and see if they. Oh, if Mr. Leahy comes, I'm going to tell him, "Fuck you, Mr. Leahy."
I just got demonetized like 4 times tonight. So yeah, everyone between now and next week, stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy, and be kind to one another.
All
Thanks.
right.
And bye
Take
bye.
care, everyone.
See you guys.
Thank you, mister. See you soon.